parents, this is for you. If you're a parent, if you're an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, right? Any person that buys toys for other people's children, just listen up, please. So the Bible talks about accursed items. The Bible talks about items that are set apart for destruction. They have been set apart for destruction. Now, I'm going to give you some examples. I'm going to show you some examples. But before I do, I just want us to really understand when the Bible talks about train up a child in the way they should go, so when they are older, they don't depart from that way, right? Train up a child. Training requires sacrifices. Training requires that it's not always going to be a comfortable discussion. Training requires discipline. Training requires uncomfortable situations. Training requires teaching. Training requires teaching and then checking back on that teaching. Okay, I taught you this and I'm trying to see if you learned what I taught you last time, right? Training is something intentional. It's not, I let the Bible, or I take you to Sunday school. They'll teach you in Sunday school. No, train up a child in the way they should go. When they're older, they won't leave that path. Training is intentional. Training is disciplined. Training is intentional. Okay. Now, like I said earlier, that training sometimes brings forth uncomfortable discussions. I'm going to show you an example. I'm going to show an example of what I mean by that. As you can see right here, hold on, let me make myself a bit smaller. As you can see right here, this truck says bad to the bone. Now, as a parent, do you want your child to be bad to the bone? And it's a digger. It's not just a digger, it's a grave digger. And what's on there? A skull. Okay, so this may seem like, Primrose, you are doing too much. You are looking too deep into this. Listen, my child, your child should not be playing with a grave digger. Should not be playing with toys that say they are bad to the bone. Okay, let me give another example. Same toy. It's a Monster Jam and it's a grave digger. It digs grave. But my Bible says in Hosea 13:14 that God will break the power of the grave. So as I'm breaking the power of the grave, asking God to limit and demolish the power of the grave, why would I choose to give my child something called a grave digger? Why would I give him something called a grave digger and bad to the bone? Contradictory. Spiritual senses, spiritual eyesight, not physical, spiritual eyesight. Next. Here we have something called the devourer. Devourer dino. Listen, y'all. Who came to kill, steal, and destroy? The devil. Who is the devourer? The devil. The Bible talks about that God will rebuke the devourer off of your finances. That's the devil. So why would I give my child something called the devourer dino? And they say, Mommy, I'm going to go play with the devourer. Does that sound like words from a fresh spring of water? Like words that are life-giving? Or words that are like bring death and heaviness around? So anything that speaks about the evil one, we're not touching. We're not allowing in our home. If it's called the devourer, it's not coming in. If it's called the grave digger, it's not coming in. I don't care how packaged it is, how big it is, how gorgeous it is, how beautiful it is. Absolutely not. So parents, as we talk about the cursed items, verify that your children, what they're playing with, what they're comfortably playing with, are not mermaids and sirens and the devourer and the grave digger and death and skulls. Please ensure that your children are playing with toys that are safe, okay? Because initially, when I saw these, I was like, these were gifts. I was like, well, I can give this away to another person, right? Another child, because mine can't play with this. But then I was convicted. I was heavily convicted that why would another child play with that, Primrose? And I was like, yeah, God, you're right. Another child should not be playing with this, because these are words. Words carry so much weight in the spiritual realm. And so guess where they had to end up? In the trash. Because even though they were given pure intentions, birthday presents, my children will absolutely not be playing with anything that even symbolizes the devil. Like, no, absolutely not. Words carry power. And so as I'm training and teaching them and disciplining them and highlighting to them, bringing them into the awareness of this word is spiritual, I need to also emulate that. And I'm so glad that they had other gifts that they didn't see these particular ones, so I could just throw them away. But have the discussion with your children, especially when they understand what you're trying to say. Have the hard discussions with your children about spiritual laws, about accursed items. The Bible says that accursed items are called items set apart for destructions. And that means any person who is with this item is also aligning themselves to destruction, right? And accursed items is something that is set apart for destruction. And in the book of Joshua chapter 7, we see somebody who had an accursed item and people died because of that, right? Extreme example, but nonetheless, the days we live in these end times, please, parents, be on your P's and Q's concerning what your children participate in, what they're playing, the video games they're playing, all of that. Pay attention. Pay attention.